excited to have you all here today for our next College Connections webinar. These webinars are designed to give you a unique inside perspective of the diverse programs, people, priorities, and partnerships within the College of Agricultural Sciences at Penn State University. We're recording these sessions so you will be able to share it via email. As long as you're registered, you'll be able to go back and view these recorded webinars. You can also find links to all of our past sessions and registration information for future events on our college website. Simply search College Connections. Today's session is a truly exciting one. The inside scoop on the Penn State Berkey Creamery. I remember going to the creamery when I was no more than knee-high on the Penn State University campus. I remember taking my fiance there for a special treat on a Saturday afternoon. The Berkey Creamery is truly iconic and an iconic part of Penn State history and culture. Today, I'm joined by the Berkey Creamery manager, Tom Davis, and assistant manager, Jim Brown. After their presentation, we will have a question and answer session. And first, we will address those questions that were submitted during the registration process. If you have questions during the presentation, please enter them in the Q&A link. Please don't use the chat, but rather the Q&A link. It's easier for us to track them and then be able to answer those questions as they come in. So without further delay, I'd like to take a quick minute to introduce our two presenters. Dr. Tom Davis has been a manager of the Berkey Creamery for more than 6 years. He helped transition the creamery to a self-sustaining unit as a hybrid academic and business auxiliary enterprise. Tom earned his bachelor's degree in biochemistry and his master's and PhD in food science, all through Penn State. He also holds an international executive MBA in finance and management from Degussa Food Ingredients. Before joining his alma mater, Tom accumulated 30 years of experience in the food industry with various companies, including Johnson & Johnson's McNeil Specialty Products Company, where he helped to launch Splenda and the Sanify bioingredients. He has worked in numerous high-level executive leadership positions in product development, quality assurance, regulatory affairs, technical productivity, and manufacturing and operations. He has served the dairy and related sweet goods industries on a business-to-business basis and has developed and manufactured products for companies such as Chobani, Yoplait, Breyers, Eddie's, Kraft, Starbucks, Entenmann's, Hostess, and Mott's. An impressive record, and we're really fortunate to have Tom leading our creamery enterprise. Tom hails from a large Penn State family, starting with his dad and carrying through his siblings, children, nieces and nephews, and his youngest son. Joining Tom today is our assistant manager of operations and the manager of sales and marketing, Jim Brown. Jim has worked in the sales and dairy industry for more than 33 years and has been with the creamery since 2005. He oversees the sales and marketing of the retail, wholesale, and e-commerce divisions of the creamery. Jim leads all marketing and advertising efforts. He drives category sales, develops strategic planning, and promotes the Creamery brand. Jim also offers business marketing consulting. He's a frequent guest lecturer in our courses, and he assists with marketing strategies for corporate and private organizations. All right, guys, I really appreciate you being here today, and we're eager to hear what you have to say. Take it away, Tom and Jim.
Thanks, Steve. Can everyone hear me?
You're good.
Okay, and very shortly you should be able to see the presentation. I think we're good on both ends. Again, thanks, Steve. I'm Tom Davis. Jim and I will keep this very light and fun. That's how we like to approach our business. And what we really like to do is get into the nuts and bolts and things, and we get to questions. And from my understanding, we already have quite a few to cover, and I'm sure we'll pick up a few more as we go through. We already know it's the Berkey Creamery, the inside scoop, so I'll keep that moving. Jim Brown and myself, just to let everyone know, Jim is the face and the voice of the Creamery, and I am all the other body parts. My preferred noun is the brains, but on most days I'm called other things. So we'll leave it up to your imagination on the other body parts I'm called on a daily basis. The Creamery, just a quick view of our 5 locations, and I'll get into that in a second when we go over our history. We do have a mission statement. It is a 3-pillar mission statement. We are basically a hybrid organization. So it's academic and also business unit or business auxiliary. So our first pillar of that mission statement is the educational side, the academic side. We are here to support the teaching, research, and outreach for the educational programs of the Food Science Department and the College of Ag Sciences. And then on the business pillars, we have to provide quality dairy products to our students on our on-campus housing. That is our wholesale pillar. And then we have another business pillar, which is maintain an economically sustainable retail outlet for dairy products. That is the retail pillar. Roughly stated, the auxiliary business goals are don't lose money. Pretty simply, we are a self-sustaining unit, which means that we do not receive a subsidy from the college, and we are required to pay all our own bills for everything we do, including our future capital and equipment expenditures. Pretty quick overview of the Creamery and our mission. I'm going to move into, this is our team, very high level, 30 employees, full-time employees. 18 of those are tech service. That means we're a unionized facility in terms of our manufacturing and distribution and warehousing. A rather unique blend. We use about 100 student assistants. Those are students that we hire to do mostly our store work, our commissary work, and our e-commerce work. And then we also do about 6 to 10 interns at any one time. Interns are a little bit more focused. They help us in the plant. They help us in our quality lab. They also help us in our office for some of the things that we like to do. So a true learning experience for the students who get involved at that level. I'm going to give you a quick history of the Creamery, and I apologize because I'm going to cover 167 years in about 2 minutes. And it boils down to very few things. We've had 3 names, which you'll see are highlighted in yellow, and we've been in 5 locations over the years, and you'll see those highlighted in gray to help us move quickly. As you will see as I go through our history, there's a transition from the Barns, which was our first location, which was the Old West Barns Complex, which is located, was located just behind where Colonel, Maine is today. Then we moved to about the turn of last century, actually 2 centuries ago, to a separate building, a standalone building I believe that was at the Agricultural Experiment Station with a $7,000 investment from the state. At that point in the history, it was pretty much about the farms, the barns, and the animals. As we move forward to the next century, in 1904, we moved the creamery, still called the State College Creamery, to Patterson Hall, which is right down the road, about 2 blocks down the road. If you walk down Curtin Road today, you will see it as you're walking towards the west end of campus. On the left-hand side, it looks almost identical to what it looks like today, except for the facade. Obviously, the horse and buggy are not there anymore, and we've chased away the chickens, but the building is still there. It still looks the same. About midway through the century, we moved to Borland Lab, which is where I did my graduate work. And in Borland Lab in the mid-50s, the name was changed to University Creamery. As you can see, we're starting to go through a transition from barns to animals, to dairy products, to technology. And as we made that transition, it went from animal science to dairy science to currently food science.
Tom, can
And
I?
our last stop is here at the Erickson Food Science Building, where we are now called the Penn State Berkey Creamery. Pretty quick history.
Can I interrupt you for a minute? Your mic is going in and out. Can you sit a little closer to it, or? the
Okay,
sound of
yep.
you- Yeah,
Yep,
thank you.
let's hopefully that will help.
That helps. Okay, good.
Okay, if you just because I covered the history so quickly, there is a mini museum and a virtual tour area inside the Erickson building. It's open during business hours for the food science department, which is essentially Monday through Friday at 7:30 up until about 5:30, or depending on when the doors automatically lock. Inside that area, you can see the virtual tour video, you can see the production observation deck, and you can see all the creamery artifacts that we have in our little mini museum. Just one last picture of our mini museum. Pretty neat stuff in there in terms of old packaging, old photos, old records. Pretty much tells the story of the history of the creamery and just the years that it went through. Now moving on to our plant, we do have a very diverse and complex operation. Most people don't understand how much diversity and complexity our organization truly has. So I'll walk you through it. But we are a manufacturing plant. We are a wholesale distributor. We are a retail store. We have e-commerce and shipping. And obviously, as one of our pillars of our mission statement is we provide academic support. And I'll go through each of these very quickly. Our manufacturing facility or our plant, it is a fully functional dairy plant. Kind of remarkable that it is. We do everything we do in about 25,000 square feet. And that includes receiving milk in our receiving bay, our production rooms, going through our laboratories, our storage areas, and we have lots of those, whether it's ambient, refrigerated, or frozen. Our support facilities like our locker rooms and break rooms. We have our own maintenance shop. We have a large sales room, and obviously we have administrative offices. That's essentially our headquarters. What is really unique about the creamery is we're embedded right in the middle of an academic building. And that does have some advantages from the academic standpoint, presents some challenges from the business standpoint. But it is what we work with and it's how we operate. We're located on Central Campus. Again, that has some blessings and it has some curses. From a sales standpoint, it's a blessing. From a manufacturing standpoint, it's a curse. It's often difficult to get a semi in here during student changing of classes, but we let that up to the truck drivers to manage that. We do operate with a high level of complexity, and I'll get into that in a couple future slides. We do wholesale and retail packaging, and we produce a wide variety of products, which I will also get into shortly. Our manufacturing plant, pretty simple. It's a dairy plant. It's a full-fledged dairy plant, just like any other dairy plant, except for we probably do a lot more products than most dairy plants, because most dairy plants are specialized. We are not a specialized plant. We do almost everything. Fluid products or bottled milk, pretty standard. You know, your whole milks, your 2%, your skims, your chocolates. We also do some specialty protein drinks, our Dr. Pete's drinks. We do some iced coffees, our Brew and White coffee brand, and we do Dr. Bob's yogurt drink, which is actually a research project. We do some iced teas, some lemonades, some orange juices. And then where the complexity really comes into our organization is our cultured products, all our fermented products. We do cheddar cheese, yogurt, sour cream, cream cheese, ricotta. We do some cheese spreads, and we do some sour cream dips. If an item is listed in red here, that means that we are offering that only through our wholesale distribution. Our blue products listed in blue are also wholesale and our retail distribution. So you won't see our yogurt, you won't see our ricotta, you won't see our soft serve mixes in our stores. But if you live on campus or a part of the university community, you have access to those products. And then what we're really known for is frozen desserts, pretty simple: ice cream, frozen yogurt, sherbets, and then we do make some soft serve mixes for our dining halls. Where the complexity really comes in is we do obviously multiple flavors of each of those products, and we do multiple packaging sizes for each of those. So when you add up all those products and all the flavors and all the packages, it gets pretty complex. Some simple facts about our manufacturing: we use about 2.5 million pounds of raw milk. For those who like gallons, that's 300,000 gallons. We make more than 150,000 gallons of fluid milk on an annual basis. We make 175,000 gallons of frozen desserts, 160,000 pounds of our cultured products, and then we do about 50,000 gallons of our non-dairy products, which are our iced teas, our lemonades, and our juices. We are the largest university dairy plant in the United States, and we do offer the largest product variety. Currently, we offer 112 products and 229 SKUs. So on average, we're a little bit more than 2 packages per product. There are 22 active university creameries in the United States, or at least there was before COVID. Each of us have a different model, and we do it differently. But as part of a conference that I attend called the Creamery Managers Association, we are all certainly moving towards that self-sustaining model. So each creamery has to, stand up on its own in our current day times. And about 90% of our purchased milk that we use at the creamery comes from the Penn State herds. And I believe that's a question, so we'll get into that in more details. Wholesale, pretty simple. We only serve the Penn State community. We do not sell outside the Penn State community. So essentially, we serve everything on campus: our dining halls, our on-campus eateries, the athletic venues, the hotels, and any of the other eateries on campus. They're all listed there, including our child care facility and our retirement village at Penn State. I keep trying to explain to Jim that I'd like to use that as our marketing campaign, that we go from diapers to diapers with our child care facility to our retirement community. But he won't let me do that. Commonwealth campuses, over the last 5 years, we have reached out to each of the Commonwealth campuses, and many of our products are available at those campuses today. We also do some work with the alumni associations, the local ones, to assist in fundraisers. And then obviously we have local campus events like our Arts Festival and other campus celebrations. Retail store, pretty simple. We run one operation, over 1.25 million visitors a year. To put that in perspective, that is more visitors and our entire sports venues get combined in 1 year. So we are definitely an iconic place at the university. Obviously, there's some synergistic relationships with athletics. And as we like to say, coming to the Creamery after we lose makes it feel better. Coming to the Creamery after a win makes the celebration better. One of the things that we discovered during COVID is we were under the impression that more of our sales came from athletic events. In reality, only about 10% of our sales are associated with home football games. That really helps us a lot with our self-sustainability. Otherwise, I was going to have to go talk to the athletic director and get some more home games scheduled. Every year we dip more than 500,000 cones and bowls. On a football weekend, we can go through at least 10,000 cones and bowls. Half gallons sold on an annual basis is about 200,000. Again, on a home football weekend, we can go through more than 10,000 half gallons, cleans out our freezers pretty quickly. We do have the largest University Creamery store. I believe our store is 3,700 square feet. One of the things that we're a promoter of is goodwill. That's an intangible asset we know the Creamery has, and we're looking to try to leverage that into the future. And our sales distribution on our last fiscal year was 62% retail, 25% wholesale, and 13% e-commerce. We still had a little bit of touch of COVID closure involved in that last fiscal year. We expect that retail number to inch up a little bit, and we expect that e-commerce number to inch down a little bit. But pretty much that's where our distribution of sales goes. E-commerce, pretty simple, a little shameless self-promotion here. If you can't come to us, we'll ship it to you. The items are pretty simple. Our frozen ice cream, our frozen products, our refrigerated products like our cheeses and our spreads. We do send out some shelf-stable items like sticky buns and coffees, and Jim will cover all that stuff in detail as he goes through. We do gift cards, both e-cards, electronic cards, and physical cards. And we also do souvenirs and other items with the Penn State Berkey Creamery logo on it. And then we do local items of interest like Porlockers mustard and Middlesworth chips and a lot of products of local interest. And then the last slide goes back to our academic mission and the support that we give to the academic unit. We are a business, but we never forget that we are part of the academic environment. That is why we're here. That is what we serve. And so we make sure that we take the greatest advantage of that. We do in-plant labs and plant processing tours for the food science department, mostly in quality assurance and our dairy processing courses. Unfortunately, with the number of classes and the number of requests, we have to be pretty limited on the number of tours and the number of people we actually let in the plant. As Steve mentioned in the intro, Jim and I do a decent number of guest lectures, mostly for the food science department and the ag business. But what's really interesting is the topics that we're asked to talk about. Sometimes it's production, sometimes it's quality assurance. So often it's product development and innovation. Jim does a lot of sales and marketing, and we both do a lot of business management. So we're highly involved in the guest lecture circuit. Short courses, we provide short courses, support for all of those. Our world famous is the ice cream short course. I believe we are offering in January our 130th version of that course, but there's other courses on pasteurization, cultured products, cheese making, sanitation, and there's a whole list of them out there that we support. We do have a graduate student assistantship. We started that program this year in quality assurance. So the Creamery sponsors a 2-year master's graduate student. We'll see how that works out going forward. But it was one of the ways to engage students more and also help identify potentially future employees, but also give us a lending hand in our quality lab. And then obviously we allow our undergraduate students to participate in the creamery, and this is by semester, mostly in the QA lab, some in our production area. We do use our students for product development. The office uses, Jim uses them for marketing, supply chain and logistics, engineering and maintenance. So you can see that we're using students far beyond what we originally used when I first got here, which was only food science students. Jim, I am going to stop sharing and turn it over to you if I can accomplish that. And
Yes,
you can
and
start.
I'm going to try to share, okay? So
And
that
again,
we
remember
have,
Jim, as you just saw, he's the voice and the face of the creamery. So whenever you see an advertisement or a video or reading an article, 90% of the time it's Jim doing the speaking on behalf of the creamery.
Tom,
go ahead, Mary. Okay, so here's the deal. Thank you, Tom. I appreciate it. I'm taking it from here. And Tom, I think you had the least amount of slides compared to I do, but I have the least amount of time. So I'm going to fly through these, okay? So Tom provided all the statistical information. I'm the person that goes on to the wild side, so the fun side of the creamery, okay? So that's kind of going to be my information. So just real quick, I wanted, before we started this, Steve told me that I had a little bit of shine on my head and he wanted to make sure that maybe I dulled it down a little bit. But what I forgot to tell him is here at the creamery, the sun always shines at the creamery. Okay, so it doesn't matter what kind of year it is or what time of year it is. That's why it's shining on there right now, because Steve, that sun's coming down. So
Jim, you're running out of time.
that's all right. That's all right. I don't mind that. As long as it's fun, I don't care if I do run out of time. Mary's going to tell me. So here's the thing that I'm going to tell you about. How has the creamery survived and thrived all this time? Okay, there we go. Okay, so we've done it through these 7 areas. First one being customer loyalty. So we did that through providing consistent quality products and maintaining tradition and offering great customer service and promoting what we call passing of the torch, and that's generational loyalty. Generational loyalty that, and even since I've been here almost 18 years, I actually have students that are now parents that are now bringing children, and we have managers that know students that worked for them in the past that now have children that are working here. So generational people not only working here, but coming in for customers. We also did by continuously improving our products. And we did that through renovating existing products and engaging students in product development, evaluating new and alternative ingredients, doing a lot of sampling and taste testing. We did it with developing of new products. We did this through involving the employees and the students that were here and looking at other products that are available. We did it through holiday flavor programs and limited product launches and things that we wanted to introduce secretively and see how the customers liked it, and that worked out. For instance, new products. New ice cream flavors like Monkey Business and Thon and Grilled Stickies and Whiteouts. And oh, by the way, there's another flavor coming soon. But over the last 5 or 10 years, that's what we did. We wanted to take a look at the products and new products that might be accustomed to what the customers want. We also did a lot of research and development by bringing expert in to improve our cheddar cheeses, and throughout the years we created not just a cheddar cheese but a full line of 15 different flavors of cheddar cheese. Examples: mild, medium, sharp, select, reserve. We introduced new fluid milk alternatives. I don't know if everybody's aware of this or, actually look at it the way I do since I've been in the dairy and the sales business for so long. But over the years ago, when I went to school, I know they had horse and buggies back then, but when I went to school, milk was what you drank. You looked into the stores and everything else, and that's what was there. When I sold milk in convenience stores and so forth, there was 5 dairy doors. And you're lucky to have 1 dairy door now. So we had to look at other milk alternatives to keep the expectation of the customer still coming in. And that was through iced coffees and protein recovery drinks. And we work with Dr. Roberts upstairs in the food science department to establish a yogurt drink as a research product. Then we also took current products that we have and made new ideas. If anybody's ever been here, you see the Paul Power Pack. So we took a lot of things from the butcher block and from our location, and we combined them into other alternatives that people might have for lunch or for snacks. We also created brand recognition. And one of the things that I noticed throughout the years is that as we establish different products and we continue to grow our product line and our SKU line, we noticed that not all the same packaging was the same. And what we wanted to do is we wanted to make the Creamery brand recognizable and consistent, no matter where you purchased it from or where you saw it from. We did this first by establishing a new Creamery design. We had to get approval for it to do it, and it's for packaging only. But now from afar, no matter where you are, no matter where you see this, you can assimilate this to the Creamery. We created new pint packaging, obviously using the new design, but this allowed us to extend our pint offerings from 5 flavors to 16 flavors. And I'm rushing through these so that we have time, but we also did co-branding. We did this with our coffee vendor, and we were allowed to co-brand products. Ice cream scoops we co-branded. We also did this by redesigning packaging shipping. So not only when you come to the store, do you actually have the ability to see everything we have to offer and know exactly what's Creamery products and whatnot, but you can also do that from an e-commerce perspective. The only bad part about this, and people will probably understand this if they ever had packages shipped to them, is that you're really announcing your brand when you're shipping it through FedEx and you're shipping it through other places. So sometimes they disappear before they actually get to the customer. I can't blame them for the most part, but we try not to do that as much as possible because that does happen. We also established marketing campaigns, and you can see the list there of the different things that we did. And I'm going to go through these quickly because you can see by the picture. A lot of things has changed in the recent 5 years to actually start marketing and promoting our products. You can see white out there, we promoted. Obviously, we did monthly and holiday promotions. It's one of the things that we never did because we just assumed everybody came in and purchased our ice cream and knew all about our products and so forth. But we actually started marketing, which actually started strengthening the brand recognition. Here's some more monthly and holiday promotions. You have Mother's Day, Father's Day, and of course you have the summer kickoff. So every event, we use that calendar. Do you ever have that whatever it is that particular day, like it's chocolate milk day or what have you? We actually looked on every website and got every event known possible to man that we can affiliate with and simulate with the Creamery. And that's been very good to us. So we have a really good social media team that has the ability to do that for us. We also expanded our e-commerce, not only the website and how it's designed and how it's laid out, but also the offerings. You can see here the different coffees and K-Cups. Also, we developed in the last 5 or 10 years relationships with partners, and we were very excited about this. We always had relationships, but we really didn't develop the actual partnerships. So with the Butcher Block, we now carry all their products, and they carry some of our products, and we use some of their products in like the Power Paw packs. Oh, you can get ice cream at the Beaver Stadium. We do a lot of marketing from that standpoint. Obviously, the Nittany line is our friend, and I want to tell you, I've actually had 3 Nittany Lions throughout the time that I've actually been here. They're all great kids, all great people. And the best thing is they will do marketing for us when we offer them ice cream. I mean, what a heck of an exchange. We do a lot with Fawn. And we do a lot with the Bryce Jordan Center. They put a portal up and carried all of our brands of ice cream. And I'll show you that we also did a flavor for them. We work with the bakery in more ways than one. We have ice cream cookie sandwiches. Just to give you a for instance, it started way back when as Billy Bars. It's now Creamery ice cream cookie sandwiches. It went from selling a couple hundred a year to selling more than 58,000 ice cream cookie sandwiches last year. And that equates to 116,000 cookies. So the bakery is very excited for that. We also did a joint venture. Now, this is just a launch that we did last year. We have a joint venture. If anybody's been down to the hub, it's called the Cow and Cookie. And it's a joint venture and hope to be a permanent joint venture with ABNS and the college and with the bakery and the creamery, using our soft serve and their inclusions to create what's called a Quake. This is near and dear to my heart. This is the most recent flavor sponsorship programs. Over COVID, we had to find ways to interact with our partners and also to help our partners out when they were needing more camaraderie within their group. So we offered not only Zoom meetings and tours and what have you, but we created flavor sponsorships where they could sponsor one of our current flavors, temporarily rename it for a fee. And then they obviously could promote their events, their anniversaries, or anything they wanted to do throughout that particular month. You can see here that we've done it through College of Earth and Mineral Sciences. We've done it through Arts Festival. We've done it through the BJC. And then we are almost booked for next year, believe it or not, for the entire year of actually doing this. So it's good partnerships. We also engage the community more than we ever have before. So we've done a lot of PR and social media from a lot of posts, both from the TV spectrum to the radio spectrum to newspapers. And finally, and probably the biggest thing is the transition into the future. I think where we were way back when, not 150 some years ago, but about 15, 20 years ago to where we are now has continue to escalate on a curve more straight up as far as what we need to do and what we've done in the last 6 things that I showed you. To now move into the future, it's modernization. We have to improve our employees and what they do and how they do it. We have to improve our systems and equipment. We have to continually look at our products and keep up with the Joneses and make sure that we're up current with what the niche is and the demand is. And the approach that we actually use from a technology standpoint. Whew, that was quick. Man, I've gone through that really quick. So what's next? Well, thanks to Steve, we got approved to do digital signage and come out of the 1920s and get into the 2000s, which is tremendous. And then that's going to be great. We'll be able to go from handwritten signs to printed signs to now to a lot of digital signs that will not only save us money, but we're also connect with the customers that come in. We're also looking at continually packaging and products, as you can see there. And Tom put this in. He slid this in. He was not supposed to say anything, but let's cross that out. Pretend you didn't see that. But that's the new product that's going to be coming out. New flavor, salted caramel cheesecake. Yeah, you'll just have to wait for that announcement. So we're also going to continue to build partnerships. We're going to expand promotions. We're going to continue to market the brand and the awards and acknowledgement. Just to let you know, I got to go to the next slide because we're running out of time. But I want you to take a look at that right there. Okay. That right there is a lot of hard work from all those people that we thank you for all the people that have made it happen. I mean, every single person that's a part of the creamery, whether they're working at the creamery, affiliated with the creamery, assist the creamery or whatever, has helped us in the last 2 years. And I will let you know, it's not just the last 2 years, but these are the first, in 2021 was the first time that we actually submitted product. And we took first place last year in our chocolate milk, and this is a World Dairy Expo. So this is not just creameries that are university creameries. This is every opportunity for every dairy manufacturing plant across the country. And we took first place in chocolate milk last year. And this year we submitted a few more, and we took first place in butter pecan in the nut category, first place in the frozen yogurt category with our black raspberry frozen yogurt. And we took a third place with aged cheddar, which is probably the most precious for me because everybody knows about ice cream from us. But hold on to your seat, because in the next few years, you're going to see a lot of cheddar demand increase because of our consistency. So that's the scoop. And I'm a little late, and I apologize for that. But what questions do you have for us? Or Mary, how do we go into these questions?
I got it covered, Jim.
Awesome. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Jim and Tom, for a great presentation. So much detail there, a lot of stuff I didn't know about, and I've been working with you guys for a long time now. There were a couple of comments in the Q&A that I just couldn't resist coming up with first. The first one was an old friend of Tom Davis's from his undergraduate days, a gentleman named Carl Brown. I hope Carl's still listening. He was singing your praises, Tom, very generous in his platitudes to you, and you definitely need to ship him some creamery ice cream. I'm not sure what you paid him for those compliments, but he was very generous in his praise. The second comment I wanted to acknowledge was from Nina Diaz Baumgartner, and she said her husband was once asked, "What's your favorite Ben & Jerry's ice cream?" And he answered, "I've never had Ben & Jerry's. I only eat the best Berkey Creamery ice cream." And I love that, and I had to get to that one first. We do have quite a few questions that came in from our viewers when we first opened up the registration, and so I'll go through some of those, and Tom and Jim can tag team on answers to some of these questions. The first category was in creamery products. How many different flavors of ice cream do you have?
Well, currently, I mean, we could both take this, but obviously I got the JTB, which is the James Troy Brown on mine. We currently have about 70 ice cream flavors. And of those, there's like 14 core flavors that we have all the time. We have about nine favorites that we have more than not. And we have 3 frozen yogurts, 4 sherbets, and we have a multitude, about 40 seasonal flavors. It depends what time of the year when they come out.
Great. What's the most popular flavor, Jim?
My favorite, Death by Chocolate.
Mine too. It's the best. How do you come up with the new test flavors?
Tom, you want to take this? You want me to take this? It's very simple.
Go ahead.
New test flavors. Well, let's put it this way. There's 2 ways that we would create a new flavor. Either someone comes to us with a potential name, or someone comes to us with a potential flavor. And if we feel that it's viable either way, and it's an exciting name or it's an exciting flavor, for the most part, then we put a team together. We have a product development team that involves students and our employees, and we do a lot of working from that standpoint. Tom does a lot of work from that side, from the operational standpoint. And then, of course, we do a lot of sampling to the customers to see if that's feasible.
This next question's a little bit tricky, Jim, but it involved the milkshake manufacturing in the line at the retail store. Is there any consideration to bringing milkshakes back?
Well, Tom and I, and it's great, Tom and I have a great team because Tom's operational and I'm sales. And so normally I'm pushing to sell everything I can sell no matter what, right? And Tom's saying, whoa, hold on a second, doesn't make it operational sense. Okay. In this particular incident, we've been going back and forth, but I will tell you this much. We're evaluating this probably in January. But one of the reasons we haven't brought it back, obviously, because of COVID, we lost a lot of ability to do those things. However, the positive part of COVID is we learned a lot from efficiency and streamline. And we learned that actually to make a shake takes about 5 times the amount of time than it does to scoop a cone. And because we couldn't do shakes for that year and a half, we found out that we were able to put more people through the line and had to turn less people down at the end of the night. So from an efficiency standpoint, it made a lot of sense. Okay. However, it might be something that we look at to do like Milkshake Mondays. Okay, where we actually bring it back on slow times where we don't have to worry about those lines and not create something to that nature. But it's something that we've evaluated and we've looked at it because it makes sense on both sides.
That's a great answer, Jim.
Thank you.
This one will go in line with Mr. Baumgartner's question about why creamery ice cream is so good. What is it about creamery ice cream that's different from other ice creams? Why is it so good?
Tom, I feel like I'm talking too much.
Okay, I'll take this one. Jim.
All right.
It's actually, it's not different per se. It's not different than anybody else's ice cream. It meets the standards of identity for ice cream. But the real secret is it's fresh. And you can get a cone here within 4 days of production. Now, it's not always that fast, but sometimes it's faster than that, especially with some supply chain issues. We have a premium product, obviously. And then I think our secret sauce is that almost all of our flavors have some kind of an emotional attachment. And if it's not the flavor, it's the experience that you had, Steve, when you were knee high. And we capitalize on that as much as we can.
That's
so
my
as Jim
job.
says, I have hair, so the sun doesn't always shine on top of my head. But the sun is always shining at the creamery.
Hey, I'm gonna sneak a question in on you guys. Tell us about the ice cream short course and how preeminent that is.
Okay, I can do that one best. It's in January. It's coming up on its 130th edition. There's about a 2 to 3 year waiting list to get into it. We actually skipped it during COVID year and we picked up 2 last year.
Yes.
But it's an 8-day course and you learn everything from ice cream, from the cows right to the cone and all the technology involved. If you don't want to spend 8 days and a couple $1,000, we do have an ice cream 101 that's only over the weekend. And that's pretty much a short version. So you forego a lot of the technology discussions, but they show you how to make ice cream. And that's more for mom and pops.
Yeah, I think it really speaks to the powerful knowledge base and the history that Penn State Food Science Department and the Berkey Creamery brings to the industry. Is 130 years putting on this short course, by far exceeds any other kind of event like this of its kind.
Yeah, people from all over the world come.
Yeah.
Yeah, 130 countries, usually 130 people every year. And to give credit, that is the food science department that puts that on.
Yes.
So there were a couple of questions kind of associated with ingredients. One of them was, what are the cows fed and where does the milk come from? And Tom already answered that we get about 90% of the milk used in the creamery from the Penn State dairy herd there across from Beaver Stadium. Those dairy cows are fed typical dairy cow diets based on forages, corn silage, grains, protein, vitamin, and mineral supplements to meet their needs. They aren't given any exogenous hormones or antibiotics. In fact, it's federal law that all dairy products are tested before they're manufactured, tested for residual antibiotics. So there are no antibiotics in your ice cream. In terms of preservatives, we also don't add preservatives to the ice cream mix directly. Let's see. Oh, there was a question about how many cows do we have. We have about 200 dairy cows that are in lactation at any time. And then we'd have an additional 50 or 60 cows that are pregnant and awaiting their next lactation and waiting to be to freshen. Let's see. Here's a question about price. What's the price of a gallon of ice cream when the creamery first opened?
Jim, you got that one.
A gallon of ice cream?
Yeah, what was the price of a gallon or a half gallon? And
Okay,
and
so-
Jim indicated that he's not that old. He wasn't here when we actually opened the creamery.
oh, you're reading that. So not only was I not born, but I couldn't find anybody to ask that question to. Okay,
They're all
but
gone.
I want to put it in perspective. I'll give you in relative terms. Okay, I have a manager that is retiring this year. She has been here for 35 years. That is as far back as I can go. And when she was at Moreland Lab, okay, an ice cream cone was 50 cents. So that's is close because we never sold it by the gallon. I believe it was the half gallon, the pint, and then of course the cone. So that's kind of putting it as best perspective as I can, because I would not have an idea of that.
So here was a question, and I know this one comes up a lot while people are waiting in line. Why do you only serve one size of ice cream cone, and why do you only allow the purchase of one flavor at a time?
That's an awesome question. It's been asked 32,000 times in all the presentations I've ever given. So I have a premium answer for that. First of all, if anybody's ever been here during busy times, they understand the complexities that we have. We service 24 flavors at any given time. Those 24 flavors usually have about 15 students throughout the store that are doing the scooping. So to actually have combinations of those flavors and different sizes of those flavors would increase the complexity. Our mission is to give everybody the opportunity to have a good time to actually have ice cream. So that's one of the reasons from a size. From the mixing of flavors, the reason we don't do that, the number one reason is from an allergen standpoint. If we would have these students be so busy in mixing flavors, there would be a potential possibility of that scoop getting intertwined between a nut allergen and a vanilla, and we don't want the next person in line that has an allergy to accidentally get something as allergic reaction.
Here's a question about distribution. Is there more than one site where you can get creamery ice cream, and are you considering other locations outside of the University Park campus?
You want to take that, Jim?
Sure, why not? Why not? Okay, so there are, let's put it in perspective. You obviously can get creamery ice cream here. You can get it on campus at the dining halls and the eateries and the e-commerce or the C-store locations. You can get it shipped to you. We also have a vendor program where we have people that have the ability, small shops across Pennsylvania have the ability to come in and pay retail and actually sell it at their shops. There's about 49 across the state you can get to. Now, as far as another creamery here on campus that has been evaluated, we're not saying no to it whatsoever, but it takes a lot of logistical planning to actually be able to do that. We're contemplating looking at the west side of campus or somewhere off campus that we would be able to do that. That's something that's in the works of evaluating it.
Here's a bit of a trivia question for you. How much milk does it take to make a gallon of ice cream, Tom?
That was a tough one, Steve, because I don't work in gallons. I work in thousands of gallons usually.
Right.
So I did do some math, and there's a couple dependencies. Depends on the quality of ice cream and overrun. So I'm going to take our ice cream, and I'm going to use 100% overrun just to make so it made the math easier for me. Although we make an 80% overrun, which means that 100% overrun means it's half air. So it takes about a half a gallon of skim milk and a quarter of a gallon of cream, plus a small amount of non-fat dry milk to make a gallon of ice cream. But it would have been much easier to do it in a 600-gallon batch.
Well, that's good enough for my needs.
Mine too.
There was another question about how do you keep the milk chilled before you process it, before you run it through your plant? You know,
That's pretty easy.
you get the milk from our dairy in a tanker truck, and then how do you chill it and keep it preserved?
The milk comes from about a half a mile away, but by law, you have to keep it cold. So it is delivered in insulated tankers. They're not refrigerated tankers, but they're delivered. Law says the milk has to be below 45 degrees. We generally get it less than 40 degrees upon receipt. And it's immediately unloaded into our silo and tested for antibiotics, as you mentioned earlier.
So, hey, Jim, somebody wants to know if Peachy Paterno ice cream is still being made.
It is, absolutely. It's always continued to be made. I will tell you this much, that we sell a lot more of it when the football team wins and has a winning season. And when we have a bad season, we don't sell as much. But yes, it is. And it's one of our core flavors in the top 10 of the sellers.
Could we had a question that came in the Q&A. What's the fat content of your ice cream?
14%.
I always say it's 14.1% because that's what I've always been taught. But yes, 14%, which is,
And that is precise, Jim.
yes, right on the board of a premium ice cream.
Let's see, we already answered the fluid milk. Most of it comes from our dairy. There's some testimony of supporting the availability of milkshakes, and we love milkshakes, and maybe we can have Milkshake Monday someday. Let's see, somebody had a question, Pamela Garbini. Oh, Pam Garbini, she's a friend of ours, had a question about the need equipment in the plant area. How big are the freezers there in your production plant?
We have 2 freezers. Each freezer can do 200 gallons of mix per hour. So that's 400 gallons of ice cream each at 100% overrun. Faster than we can package it.
Yes.
Somebody wanted to know where the Berkey Creamery name came from.
Oh, I can tell you that because I was actually here when the Berkeys were here. The Berkeys actually, let me see, Jeannie and Earl Berkey went to school here, opened up, quick version, opened up a dairy, and they made a donation when we first were looking at either remodeling or rebuilding. So Jeannie and Earl Berkey donated money to assist us in building this building and establishing the creamery store.
Great, thanks. I had a question from one of our participants, and he noted that he's allergic to corn syrup, and he wanted to know if there were alternative sweeteners that could be put into ice cream rather than corn syrup.
There are numerous alternative sweeteners. We choose not to get into those niche businesses because there's just not enough customer demand. And when we make it, because of the size of our production, we have minimum batch requirements. So if we made a minimum batch, we'd end up with X gallons of output, which is more than we normally sell, which is why we've eliminated about 50 different products since I've joined 6 years ago. It goes back to that self-sustainability part. The definition of insanity is making stuff that you can't make money on. And one of my missions was to reduce complexity and make sure we got better, not necessarily bigger and more complicated. So for all those who have special requests out there, I must apologize. We have to follow a pretty tight model in order to survive.
Let's see, we did have a question about the availability of creamery ice cream through retail supermarkets like Giants, Wegmans, or the Weiss supermarket. And if you could just touch on that for a minute.
Well, one of the big things that Tom mentioned is we also have an academic element, but we also have an industrial element. So we have a lot of friends that we don't want in the industry to become competitors to. And that's really important for us because they come to us and we come to them to ask for help both ways. And the last thing we want to do is become a wholesaler. So we only wholesale on campus. We don't offer discounts to anybody else. And that includes Wegmans and Giants and so forth, because then we would become direct competitors to our friends in the industry. And that's not what we're here for. We're here to be helpers, and we're not here to be hinderers.
Yeah, really participating in the land grant mission of teaching new students to go out there in the industry and do great things, research and the discovery of new products and a new way to do things. And then the outreach component of sharing that information like we do with the ice cream short course.
Absolutely.
In fact, and I know that we have a great relationship with a number of commercial dairy companies around the world.
Yes.
And that's really part of our land grant mission there. Yeah, so I think I've made it through most of the questions here that we've gotten on the Q&A. So I think that about wraps it up here. I want to thank Dr. Tom Davis and Jim Brown for joining us today for their presentations. And before members of our audience log off, I want you to please make a note that the next session will be listed on your screen. In December, Rick Roush will be joining Dr. Josh Rice, who's the Assistant Director of Programs for our 4-H programs here in the College of Ag Sciences and for youth programming. Matthew Crutchman, who's an extension educator for 4-H youth programming, will also be here to discuss the status of 4-H and PA and innovative youth programming for promoting physical and mental health and social well-being. We'll be continuing these presentations of the College Connection all the way into 2023 with webinars that are already planned for the equine program, the Pasto Ag Museum, and other collections and lots more. And we have an exciting lineup ahead already planned. So we hope to see you then. And we thank you for joining us today. Have a great afternoon, everyone.